welcome to Who Dares Rolls, a mumbo jumbo for this, the 4th, it's later than that, probably about the 7th of December by the time this comes out, maybe later. I've had the man flu. After I filmed the last video, I was feeling a bit rough by the end of that, and by the end of that, I was really rough, and I had about 3 days off work feeling very man flu-y. So, not a lot got played on the Sunday. Well, nothing got played on the Sunday because I was rough. But I did fiddle around with some stuff while I was away. But yes, I'm feeling better now. But good gracious me, wasn't that fun? The old man flu. I'm fine. I'm well. I'll be okay. I don't want you worrying about it. How is everyone? I hope everyone's staying out of the way of this. It's been fucking cold, hasn't it? I hope you're all well. But yeah, it is freezing. The temperature has dropped over here in Blighty recently. And it's, for us, sub-zero. It's not very nice at all. So all of that's happened. What have I been playing? Fuck it. Played. Not a lot. However, I mean, last night we played a game of Escape from Colditz. Ben has the Osprey reprint, poshier version of it. I mean, it's a perfectly serviceable game from its time. The Osprey version doesn't massively tweak things. The idea basically is, if you've never played Escape from Colditz, is one versus many. One person plays the Germans in the Colditz of prison, and the rest of them, everyone else, is prisoners. They have groups of prisoners. You're trying to move them around, collect items to allow you to escape from Colditz. And it's not bad fun, actually. It's entertaining in what it is. I always seem to end up playing the Germans. And again, I was playing the Germans. And I managed to... They escaped, finally. Basically, the idea is the POWs need to get at least... One person needs to get 2 prisoners out to win the game. If everyone else can get 2 out at the same time, or around that, then they also win. If not, just the person who got the 2 out wins, technically. Every one of them got 1 out. And it got down to the wire, and Ben, once again, fucking snuck someone out under the gate. I shot Robbie, which was nice. But yeah, that happened. It is perfectly serviceable. You know what? If you're going to have to play something with the Muggles, then actually, to play with Muggles, at least it's got some thought process in it. There is a game there to be played. It's not terrible. I mean, it's got roll and move in it, but it all kind of works into the strategies of the game. I think they probably could have refined this a bit more when they did the refinements on it, but as it stands, it's not a bad version of it. Whatever version you play, it's all pretty much the same. And whilst I can't heartily recommend it, if there's a big group of you and you don't mind a bit lower weight, easier play, muggly, safe games, then you can do a lot worse than this. Speaking of muggly safe, could do a lot worse than this, older style games. I did see James, thank you James, I saw he posted that Rebellion were on their site offering a pretty fucking good deal. I don't know if it's still on, it was over Black Friday, I think. The Judge Dredd board game plus the Block Mania and Mega Mania, all of that for 30 quid, plus postage, which isn't a bad deal. I mean, I will caveat that with is you are getting 80s style games with very few refinements of rules. They are still very 80s games. If you're a big Judge Dredd fan, for curio pieces to own and have those, yes, I recommend. Blockmania is really a 2-player game. It can be played with more Mega Mania, but it really is just a 2-player game. It is a chaotic, deranged 2-player game with lots of edge cases and random 80s style rules in it. Judge Dredd is more of a roller movie kind of take that style, old school janky kind of style of game, but it's Just Red. So there's that. If that's still available, it's if you've got 30 quid burning a hole in your pocket, and you want some nostalgia from the 80s, and Judge Dredd specifically, then you can't go far wrong with that. Thank you, James, for pointing that out. If you've missed out on that, well, I'm sure it will come around again. They often do. Aside from that, what I did play was Nucleum. Now, I played this solo just to get a feel of it. And I did film a bunch of videos, actually, which now I've looked at were indecipherable, mainly because I think I was still suffering from the flu of the man. Nucleum, where to begin? It's a David Turksey design and Simone Lucian, I think it was. It's heavy. I mean, it is a heavy game, and with a Turksey game, his design fingerprints are all over this. It almost feels heavy for the sake of being fucking heavy. The core mechanism of the game I really dig. I haven't got any of them out here, but essentially what you have is everyone has a set of tiles. You pick a technology. There's one of 4 different technologies you have. You get a player board, which is horrifically huge, and one of these things latched on the side, which has got these technologies you slot in here, and this is awfully fragile and terribly designed. But you got these tiles, multi-use tiles that you play out, and they have a couple of uses. You can either play them to your player board, in which case you would gain the income of the 2 icons on it. And the iconography, to be fair, in this game, whilst there's a lot of it, and there is a lot of it, there's some of it there, it is also quite intuitive once you've got your head round it. So you're either playing with these tiles to your player board to get his 2 actions, whatever they are, and they usually kind of revolve around either an income or building something or something like that. Or as a different action, you can play them out on the board as a train track. Again, you will get to trigger the iconography of anything that links color-wise to either the city you're building it into. As I say, it's a green city, and the one end of this is green. It will ping and reactivate that. If it's the other side matches, if it's just a 1 track then tile, then you'll get that for that. If it's not, it's a longer track, a bit like Think Ticket to Ride, then subsequent tracks, when they're put down, if they match the one that you've put down, you will get that buff. That, in a nutshell, is what you're doing. What you're trying to do is build a network to power buildings. You're either building generators or you're building a network of trains around to allow you to have different of these city areas where your cities you build into, and then a given turn you can do an energized turn, which allows you to power these things up. And depending if you've got these big nuclear reactors nearby and around, then you can bring the power in from that. You can do this and you can do the other. You bring coal in, but that gets more expensive as the game progresses. And that's it in principle. Basically, you are playing tiles to essentially what you want to do is get buildings built out. When you power those buildings up, they flip over, they give you victory points and other stuff, other good bling. You can complete contracts, you've got milestone markers you get by doing certain stuff at certain given times, yada 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 yada. There's like 5 different end game conditions that have to be met, at least 2 to 3 of them depending on the player count, which seems much, but okay. And essentially the game is just concurrent turns. Everyone just keeps playing. There's no turn order, there's no phases. There's literally, you do your turn and then the next person does their turn. Having played the solo one, and bearing in mind I was probably a little bit out of my gourd because I was just a bit it's, as I say, it's really fucking heavy. I kind of got the head around what I was doing with it by just playing around with it. I played one game against the solo thing and won it. However, now looking at it, I think I got most of the rules wrong when I did that. I don't know where I sit with it, really. It's just, it feels like the Lasada level of game, that heavier Euro. I really enjoy the tile mechanism. I really love that. It's kind of a deck building-y element, and it's got a real knife edge in that the decision space you're in. You can buy more of these, and as you're going on, but it's the point of when do you sacrifice to put them down as train track, where you're never getting them back, rather than keeping them in. So it's kind of like this deck buildery thing, and I like that sort of that decision process where at a certain point you're going to have to go, shit, I really like that tile, it's giving me this stuff. However, I think I'm going to have to sell it to get that buff. That's kind of cool decision space to be in. These tiles, they're all different random ones. They're randomized at the start of the game. There is a set sort of core ones in, but there is more random ones you maybe don't know what you're getting. That kind of process is quite cool because there is an economy around the tiles you've got, and you have to buy more, and if you don't get certain ones, if you're sacrificing them, you can break your engine to a certain degree. You always have like a wild tile which allows you to do one of the base actions at a discount, so you never get rid of that. So you've always got no way of quite painting yourself totally into a corner, but you can mostly paint yourself into a corner if you're not careful, I feel. It was quite tight at the 2-player with me versus the AI. 3 to 4 players, which this goes up to. I mean, I don't know. It would be very AP strewn, I feel, and just, ugh. And the size of this thing is fucking huge. It takes up a massive amount of table space for what it is. I mean, it's all nice, but it just barely, I think I could squeeze in a 4-player game on my table. It will be a challenge for any normal dining table, I feel, to take this game on and play it for what it is. And accessibility wise, also I'm not colorblind. I hear that the colorblind on this is fucking atrocious because the muted colors of the board. I can imagine why it would just become into a muddy grey mess if you couldn't discern those colours very easily, which seems a bit of a fucking silly thing to do at this stage in the development of board games. You would have thought colourblindness is one of the things they're thinking of. But yeah, I don't know. Nucleum. I mean, it looks exciting on the box cover. I think that is not what you're getting. I don't know what the box cover looks vague. So greens and war. It looks very kind of magical and mystical, and some stuff's going to happen. Maybe revolution. I don't know, but it doesn't feel like it offers that. It's essentially a kind of a bit of a Power Grid-ish feel game with some very big, heavy design choices. A really great tile mechanism, certainly. I need to play it at some point when I can get the fucking energy levels up to teach someone it and play it. And we'll see. I suspect it's going to be a workout. But what satisfaction I will gain from playing that, I don't know. I feel, for me personally, this is at the far heavier end of the spectrum. Anyway, it tips its fun meter from less fun to more math. And there's just so many variables, edge cases and shit to everything. I think that alone is just like you're always having to constantly go, hold on, have you, what's that? Okay, I don't know. If you're a big heavy Euro player, then, fine. And I really, as I say, I really thought the tile lay mechanism, that process is really great. I love all those decisions. It just feels like almost that would make a great game. Just not this game. Or if this had been refined and just remove a lot of the unnecessary level of head fuck, just to make it a bit more of a sleeker player, but more enjoyable game, just more for the lower, us normal people, rather than requiring, to make your head explode. I don't know. There you go. That's that anyway. But there you go. There's Nucleum. That's the first kind of look and feel of it. We will play it at some point somewhere, either on the Friday or the Sunday. And I'll report back at that point what the fun is. I suspect it will be AP strewn, definitely for the Sunday crowd. And the teach kind of leaves me going, Jesus. So there's that.
Here is the news.
News. Not a lot of news. I mean, the two big fucking things going on at the moment clearly is Nemesis Retaliation is still cracking along. It's now just shy of the 6 million raised, which is quite a fucking significant amount of money for what it is. It's not a bad value pledge. If you just go for the base pledge, it's just about $109, I think with P2P on top. It's really not. And if you get the standard version, it's even cheaper. I have pledged for the base version of it, this miniature version. I have the other two, Nemesis. I don't necessarily think this will probably do massive amounts more. It looks different enough. They are quirky games. They are they have some personality. They're a little bit broken, all of them are. And I think that's the nature of Awakened Realms as well, the publisher behind this. There's a lot of their design. Whoa! Kind of sometimes they don't quite smooth it out. There's a little bit kind of crackly edges on their design, so it jams every so often. However, they are charming, and I've always been a fan of growing up in the 80s designs, where a lot of game designs and stuff we played at that time were clanky, had those rough edges on them. So you know what, it sits within my wheelhouse of stuff I quite enjoy. Nemesis, the first one, was a fantastic thematic experience of that haunted house in space style of alien, essentially, real, that style feel of it. And Lockdown refined a lot of stuff. It was kind of similar to the game. I suppose, really, if anything, that is Nemesis is Alien, and probably Lockdown is Alien 3. And this looks like this is Aliens, really is what we're getting. They were their own things in their own different ways. And if you're a big Ameritrashy, kind of thematic-y, dice rollery, space alien-y fan, then there's a place at least for one of these in your collection. I think maybe take a look at Retaliation. If you're looking for more the pewy end of the market, then that looks like this is what this does. It certainly seems to be more veering towards you fighting hordes, space hulky style. And it's got a lot of interesting stuff it's throwing in with the modular boards, and there's as I say, the value alone at the moment is pretty solid. There's the stretch pay option, which I'm going to go for, which means I'm paying about 15, 16 quid a month for about 6 months, which lessens the pain of that. I'm just talking you through my how I've convinced myself what a great deal this is. But I've got the Honor 2. It will be, it's 25 it's delivering, I think, so it's a way off. But when that big box of plastic and goodies turns up eventually, whenever it is, you know what, it is a treat when they turn up. And it's Nemesis. I quite enjoy Nemesis. Maybe I'll play that this weekend, so we'll see. So there's that, and counterbalance that, the Food Chain Magnate. Last video I mentioned Food Chain Magnate and how they're ridiculously priced fucking project. Well, they have reacted to the general level of discontent, one could say. They've put out now a deluxe version of it, which essentially is the base game and the expansion with some lesser tweaks. And there's no plastic in this. Now it's just wood components. All the other nice posh stuff, the new art and all some other quality of life improvements for about €180, which in the scheme of things, actually, if you were to buy the base game and the expansion now from Splotter, I mean, the expansion is quite hard to get. There's a reprint coming. I mean, it's not a million miles off of what you conceivably would have at some point paid for both of those. I've seen Food Chain Maker over the base version of it, the Splotter version, over Black Friday and around recently for about 60 quid, and maybe 60, 70 quid, which isn't a bad price for it, technically. It really comes down to, it's a vicious game. I haven't played it since the incident. Ben's bought it a couple of times to Fridays, and I'm more than happy to play it, and we will play it again. I said it was one I kind of like the idea of. I don't think I'd play it very much. I can't justify the price. I mean, it's €180, whereas just over €110 you can get the Nemesis pledge. They are entirely different beasts, I appreciate. But for my money, I know where it's going. Just for sheer value. And I've argued often that value in Kickstarters and crowdfunding has kind of diminished over the years. But this feels, the Nemesis pledges are very much feel, and they present really that style of big buck value you used to get back in the day of the golden age of Call Mini or Not and Kickstarters. So there you go, that's where I come. I mean, if you really are on the fence for Food Chain Magnate, it's a better offer, a better price. They have said they're going to be reprinting the catch-up mechanism soon-ish for the Splotter version, so either that you sit tight and potentially pay around about the same for the less pretty version. I don't know. That's for you to decide. I have made my decision. It's Nemesis, because I'm a tart. But there you go. Have a look, have a feel. As I say, Food Chain Magnate, vicious Euro game. Vicious Euro game. So if you've never played it, I would caveat that it is a game that is punishing to people. So it's not a nice and fluffy by any means. But if that's in your wheelhouse, then you know. So that's news, and other than that, just general shit I've been doing and things to discuss. Here's a thing that I was mulling over my brain. This is like a 3 o'clock in the morning brain discussion to yourself. Here's a choice, cake or death situation for you. If you had to pick an existing designer, and you can only, from this point onwards, if you pick them, you can only play any of their previously published designs, anything they've currently done. And then to pick a new upcoming designer, and you only ever get to play what they design in the future. So that is it. That's your design. This is your cake or death moment. You've got to pick an old designer and a new designer, and you can only ever play the old designer's old designs going back to wherever they are, and that's all you can ever play of theirs, and that what you can play, and then whatever the new designer is, you only ever get to play whatever they design going forward. So even if they've got some good stuff out now, you don't get that. You just get whatever they design tomorrow, the day after that, and that's it. That's what you're going to be sat with. Have a think on that. What would your decision be? Who would you pick? I am really floating around for my old designer, and I don't mean this in a thing, but my established designer. I'm either on the fence between, I feel personally for me, it'd probably be Eric Lang, or Martin Wallace. I mean, Lang gives you all of his Cool Mini run. So that's the Ankh, Blood Rage, Rising Sun, all the other stuff he did, the others he did, which was all right. Whatever else he's done. He's done a bunch of stuff with them. Chaos on the Old World. What else? He's done a few. There's a good bunch of Godfather. There's some solid dudes on a map style games with Lang's names attached to them. You also see Quarriers, Dice Masters, and a bunch of other stuff. He's done some mass market stuff as well. So it does give you a pretty nice big kind of that styles of games to play. Wallace does give you an eclectic mix of good stuff as well. It gives you Runebound Second Edition. It gives you, he's studying Emerald. Gives you a lot. He's also, again, he's a designer who's all over the place between Euro and Ameritrash, and it's a fucking tough one. I think I'd go for Lang. Only because I'm a bitch to the plastic. And Lang's, those core designs he did, Blood Rage. I'd lose Blood Rage if I didn't pick Lang. What would I lose with Wallace? Is there anything I could... studying Emerald's good, Australia's good. There's a good variety of Wallace's stuff. You've got a lot of good stuff. But I feel I could sacrifice Wallace. I will. Sorry, Martin. You're going under the bus, I think, in favour of some bling plastic and some good old dudes on the mappy style games. So that's who I'd think. Now, upcoming designer. It's a tricky one. I floated around this. I think I would go for Adam Kopinski. I don't know. Sorry, Adam. Designer of Nemesis. He's fairly still up and coming. His pedigree of stuff he's done has been pretty solid. He's done the Nemesis games. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to get them. And he did Origins, actually. I think First Builders was one of his designs. He's done some solid... He's got some solid pedigree under his belt of stuff he's done. And I still feel now he's yet to really... We've had the Nemesis games, but what else has he got brewing? So it's likelihood it's going to be in my wheelhouse, whatever it is. So I'm going to take a punt on that. I was torn because I was really torn between him and whose name escapes me. The Apiary. The lady who did Apiary. It was her first design, which I thought was fantastic. Really quite fascinating for what she might bring up in the future. But I think Kopinski is a safe bet in me. It feels like a safe bet. So I'm going to go for that. So it'd be Eric Lang, Adam Kopinski. I am very much putting all my monies into the trashy of a trashy type style of thing. But hey, you know what? At least I won't be bored. Big old epic-y good fun stuff. There you go. That was what I did. What would you go for? What would be your two? It's harder than you think. I'm going to regret all this 5 minutes later. But all of you I got thrown under the bus. I'm really sorry. But I had to think through what I was going to think about my own self, not you. Sorry, designers. Advent calendars. So yeah, we have been starting playing for the Advent calendar. We've opened 2 windows so far. It's the Golden Book one. I hear it's the easier one of them. The 2 puzzles that we have currently encountered have been relatively toothless. Isaac enjoyed the first one. I think the wife enjoyed the second one. It does involve you cutting stuff up and popping bits out and tearing bits and pieces up. There is some element of that in there. I'm sure there's people out there who have still obsessively made a way of doing it where they don't damage or remove or fuck up components. But hey, it's a kind of legacy. It is legacy-ish. For what, 20 quid, which is what I paid for it. It's getting ripped up. Yeah, but you know what? It's all right. So far, it's a bit different. It's engaged Isaac and the wife and me. We only had one argument over it so far. Pretty good going. So we'll see how the rest of that develops as it goes. It is telling a story of sorts of you trying to find Santa's golden letter, whatever it is. But yeah, I am fine with it so far. I'd be interested to see how it develops as we play. Other than that, I haven't really done much. I watched the entirety of all the Hunger Games films because I was man-flued up, so I just laid in the duvet watching them, which were vaguely entertaining actually. I haven't seen them for a while. I know the new one's just come out. I haven't watched that yet. There's a bloody good cast in that, actually, the latter movies that I completely missed. Like a bunch of Game of Thrones cast and members turn up, and Amos from The Expanse turns up. There's quite a few faces that actually popped out. I was like, I forgot you were in this. And you know what? I quite some of the nuance of what it did and what it did for a young adult PG-13 audience. I think it was pretty solid and got some meaty, chewable political discourse in there, I felt. you know, it was a little bit on the nose. It wasn't that subtle, but I think it did some good stuff. So yeah, I enjoyed them. I might go and see the new one at some point. I don't know. I'll probably wait for it to stream. And that's it, really. Other than that, I have been watching some other stuff, but to be fair, it's been a blur. As I say, I've been kind of like, so I can't quite remember, but I'm sure it was exciting, whatever it was. Right, for the time being, I think that'll do us. It's a fly. That'll do us for the time being. Have fun out there. Have a think about your designers. Who would you pick? If I get Nucleum played, I'll feedback on that and whatever else crops up. For the time being, stay safe out there, stay warm, play some games. Goodbye.